And now it's Boomer Life. Lifestyle ideas designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is Boomer Life with Stirling Faux.
Well, good evening. Welcome to Boomer Life here on AM650. Hope you had a good long weekend, maybe spent a few minutes of it on the water. And if you did, you're really going to enjoy this next hour of conversation. We have two members of the Board of Directors of Boating BC in the studio with us. Michael Short from Vancouver Marina and Morley Munro of Canmar Yachts are here with us on Boomer Life. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Thank you, Stirling.
Now, let's start with you, Michael. You're a local guy who actually grew up literally in the marina business.
Yeah, grew up in Richmond. Started hanging around the marina as long as I can remember. Probably 2 years old. Started hanging around, and you know what a better place for a kid to grow up around a marina and hanging around boats and going on boats and learning the business right from when I was a kid.
Where is Vancouver Marina?
Vancouver Marina is located on the middle arm of the Fraser River, so on the north side of Richmond. And we're about a 6-mile run up to the mouth of the Fraser River, mouth of the north arm.
Okay, are you anywhere near the airport then?
Yeah, right across the river is Sea Island, which is the airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 5-minute drive.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
So if you're going to the airport and you go over that bridge on your way to the airport and you look down and you see all of those boats parked, is that Vancouver Marina?
That's us. If you look down and you see a bunch of blue roofs, that's us.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, I know exactly where you are. And Morley Munro from Canmar Yachts. Now, you're also based in Richmond, Morley.
Yes, we're about a block and a half down the street from Mike, right on the corner of Capstan and River Road.
Okay, and now Canmar, is it a brokerage? Is it a manufacturing facility? Tell us about it.
Canmar Yacht Sales is a brokerage and a dealership company, and it primarily has focused over the years since 1985 on Commander Boats, which is a locally produced vessel.
Okay.
26 to 38 feet.
All right, and all power boats?
All power boats.
Okay. And at Vancouver Marina, you also are involved in False Creek, Mike, with one of the fuel stops there.
That's correct. So I have a company called False Creek Fuels, which is located pretty much right beside the Burrard Street Bridge. It used to be an Esso station that closed down, and we reopened it a few years ago and been going steady ever since.
Well, I would think a lot of those fishing boats parked in right there under the Burrard Street Bridge, would they be customers?
That's right. Prawn season opened up last week, and those guys are going strong right now. Prawn festival and all that.
Oh, yeah, the spot prawn season, that's great fun. Down on Granville Island, it's the place to be during spot prawn season, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Boating BC. Morley, you and Michael are both members of the board of directors. How long have you been part of Boating BC?
I've been on the board for 3 years.
Okay. And what sort of responsibilities does that involve, given that you already have a full-on business assignment going on in your life? How much extra time does Boating BC chew up?
I wouldn't say a great deal of time, but
okay.
Probably 4 or 5 hours per week. And it's just more or less overseeing all the issues that come up related to the marine field.
Right. Now, Michael, Boating BC is an industry organization. Individual people who are boat owners, from kayakers and canoeists right up to people who would buy a big power unit at Morley's place. They're not part of Boating BC. It's the people inside the business who are, correct?
That's correct. The Boating BC comprises of about 250 business members that belong to our association. But those business members, we promote the marine industry and boating to the public as well.
Right.
So, and our advocacy also reaches out and really looks after boating and for individual boaters as well. So even though they're not our members, we're looking out for anybody involved in boating.
Well,
recreational.
I would imagine part of the mandate too, Morley, has to be an educational. There is an educational component to all of this. Even as Mike says, even if individual boat owners can't belong to the association Boating BC, they certainly are boaters, and Boating BC is very concerned that they do well on the water.
We are very involved in safe boating, promoting safe boating,
right,
for boaters.
And with that, I guess that starts right with the license, right?
Starts with the license, and it goes down to safety equipment on board and how to use safety equipment. Although we don't provide instruction manuals, we certainly promote safety on the water for the boater.
Well, here we are, guys. You know, another weekend just behind us, the first big weekend, the kickoff to summer. Victoria Day weekend earlier this year than we've seen it in the past. But certainly across the rest of the country, it's the official get the boat in the water weekend. We have such a huge advantage here, Mike. And you grew up in BC around the docks and the marinas. We're a 12-month-a-year boating community in Vancouver and on the island. That is really unique in Canada.
That's right. People do boat year-round, but a lot of us still are fair weather boaters.
Oh,
so
yeah.
a lot of course, May Long Weekend for a lot of people still is the sort of unofficial kickoff to boating season, even in BC. A lot of people have been boating throughout the wintertime, but right now there's all kinds of folks down at the marina getting their boats ready, cleaned up, and equipped and ready to go for.
Well, certainly this would be
where
the freshwater gang really kicks in with their stuff. I mean, the saltwater people, Morley, are more likely to be found occasionally boating in the winter months. But certainly the freshwater, the water ski crowd, this was their big weekend when we just went by.
Yeah, this is their prime time to get started for the season. Whereas with saltwater, people boat all winter long, and actually winter fishing is some of the best fishing you'll find in local waters.
Yeah, I want to talk about fishing big time with both of you, because you both spent more than a few hours with the old rod and reel out on the water. But first and foremost, you were talking moments ago about the official kickoff to the boating season. Again, because it's BC and because we have that capacity to do 12-month boating, really our kickoff to the boating season every year, courtesy of you folks at Boating BC, is the boat show in January, right, Morley?
That's correct. The boat show is the start off for the year, and it normally happens about the third week in January every year. And there's an indoor show and an outdoor show, so you can explore both venues. The indoor show has a lot of small vendors that educate people on accessories and boating, and has kayaks and all kinds of novelty items that would help educate a person in their boating lifestyle. And the docks have all kinds of new and used boats that you can go down, and the brokers welcome you aboard, and you can look at a boat that you probably would never be able to afford to buy, but at least be able to dream about it, and then explore some small boats and enter boating from that aspect.
Michael Short, when was the decision taken to split the boat show? I think it's a fantastic idea, with some of it, as Morley says, under the dome at BC Place, and then you walk across the street to Falls Creek, and there's the whole other thing going on. When did that get split?
We've had an in-water boat show. I can't remember the first year of it was. It's been quite a while now, about 6 years, and about, I think 3 years ago now, we moved the in-water venue over to Granville Island. From where it used to be over at the Falls Creek Yacht Club, so now it's at the Granville Island, and it's a really great place to get down on the water and check out some of the bigger boats, like Morley was mentioning, sailboats too.
Right, yeah. And do you know, just off the top of your heads, either one of you, what the percentage, what the split is in BC for us boaters, those of us who prefer to sail rather than boat under power? What's the split? Any idea? Ballpark numbers?
I think Don on our last interview mentioned 60-40, 60 power, 40 sail. I think that's fairly, 40 sail. Okay. I think that's a fairly accurate estimate.
Okay, interesting stuff.
But we don't have exact numbers on that.
Right, but it seems to be that the power boat boaters enjoy a majority, but it's not an overwhelming majority, not in these waters, is it?
Not at all.
Look out on English Bay, especially now that we're into the nice weather and the summer boating season. Any day you look out onto English Bay, and there's dozens of sails, Mike, and they're just happy as clams out there.
Yeah, sailboaters really are they go all weather too. A lot of sailors are into racing, and it just goes all year round.
Which one of you two worked at Sewell's as a boat boy way back in the day?
I worked at Sewell's as an 18-year-old. Kid in the service department of Sewell's.
A college kid helping the fishermen out?
Yes.
Was that when you first started to learn about the possibility of terrific fishing in local waters, Morley?
Yes, that my first summer here working at Sewell's is when I would have gone out and actually caught my first salmon.
Okay.
up in the Gibsons area.
All right. Now, Mike, you grew up in these waters. Dad ran Vancouver Marina when you were a little kid, so I would assume you've known about some pretty sweet fishing spots pretty much all your life.
Yeah, and fishing's a big part of our marina, and back when I was a kid, we used to have a place up on Thormanby Island up the Sunshine Coast, and we'd fire up to Thormanby on the weekend and get all kinds of great fishing in around Texada, and you don't have to go that far, but that's just so happened where I did a lot of my fishing when I was a kid. So,
right.
Yeah.
But it is possible, as Morley discovered as a college kid and a teenager, to just rent a boat for a couple of hours out of Horseshoe Bay and just pop around the other side of Bowen Island or not very far, and bingo. They just start coming in, don't they?
Yes, you don't have to be far off Sewell's Dock to catch a large salmon.
I know. I had a Sewell's. My first salmon was the same thing. Out in a Sewell's rental boat, pulled in a nice little 6 or 7 pounder, took it home and ate it that day. Oh my gosh, it was just the best. And so, what about tourism as it affects boating businesses in British Columbia, given that we have and look, you talk to the people at Campbell River, the salmon fishing capital of the world, we're a pretty good place to come and visit. I'm a scuba diver. People come from all over the world to dive and check out the giant Pacific octopuses. How does that affect business for Boating BC member operators?
It certainly is very beneficial for the charter industry, because there are a lot of charter boats in the various marinas that actually take visitors that are in town on a cruise or in town for a week's holiday.
Right.
Actually go out and enjoy the salmon catching experience. And there's also a lot of fishing resorts up and down the coast that people specifically come from long distances to fish because the fishing is so terrific.
I've never been to one of those places like Rivers Inlet or way up there and the Charlottes or Haida Gwaii, and some of them are, I mean, they're world famous. And you see these guys with pictures of salmon, 20, 30-pound salmon. I mean, it's just absolutely extraordinary. But you have to go, Mike, that far away to get the real big guys, or can you find some pretty sizable salmon in local waters?
You can get some pretty sizable salmon right off of Point Grey. You don't have to go all the way up to Rivers Inlet or the Queen Charlotte's. I mean, yes, that's where you get the famous pictures. But
right.
I got lots of people in the marina that have just gone out off Point Grey and caught all kinds of large spring salmon right there.
So is tourism important to you at Vancouver Marina then, Mike?
At our marina, not specifically. Most of the folks that are keeping their boats at our marina are either boat brokers or people that live in the Vancouver area, or even some people from Alberta that keep their boats in because we're so close to the airport.
Sure, of course, yeah.
But definitely marine tourism is a huge part of Boating BC, and a lot of our member businesses rely on that. And a lot, of course, as Morley mentioned, a lot of folks coming from all over the place end up at Sewell's or down at Granville Island renting a boat whether it be for the day or chartering a boat for the week or 2 weeks and getting fishing in and cruising in.
I've been here for a long time, and I can remember times, Morley, when the whole fishing, charter, tourism, boating combination seemed to be a little more high profile than it is now. Is it because there's more competition from more other tourist attractions and options? Because I get the feeling that boating as a tourism destination thing, let's go to Vancouver and take a boat out and go fishing, is probably still a pretty popular idea with some visitors.
Yes, I think a lot of people, when they do come to Vancouver, do want to go out on the water. Mm-hmm. And it may not just be for fishing. It may just be for scenery. Chartering a boat and going down the inlet.
Absolutely.
Or, a camera moment for them to take pictures of scenery. Mm-hmm. And ecotourism, as it's called, is a developing area of British Columbia.
And isn't it nice in the past few years to see, you were talking about ecotourism and all of the sort of green management practices that have gone into government, provincial, municipal, and federal. Isn't it nice to see some of that stuff actually working to the point where we now have tourists able to see killer whales going under the Lions Gate Bridge in the middle of a summer day. We had humpback in False Creek out in front of Science World a year or so ago. This only happens when the water is clean enough for these animals to come in and enjoy. And it seems to be working, Morley. This is great.
Yes, it's wonderful, because this is something that you didn't see 20 years ago or 30 years ago very often.
It can't possibly hurt the boating tourism business either, because whale watching in some areas, particularly over on the island, one thinks of Tofino, for example, Mike. That's a big business out there year-round.
And it's a big business right in Vancouver. There are a couple of operators that operate multiple boats daily out of Granville Island and out of Cole Harbor. And again, they don't have to go very far quite often to go see those orcas.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're coming as close right up to us as they are, it's just wonderful. And it just enhances Vancouver as a tourism destination. You talk about photo opportunities, Morley. There's nothing more exciting than a shot of some killer whales. Oh, I don't know, with maybe some mountains in the background. That's the stuff that people from Saskatchewan dream about, when they come out here on their summer holidays.
Well, I've been in the Langara area and had a pod of 14 whales come right through me, and where we had the boat, the engine shut off at the boat, and because we couldn't get out of the way,
right,
and the whales just came all the way around us, and we just sat there idle as they came toward us, past us, and went on, and they never touched the boat.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. We need to take a break, but just very quickly, just for anyone listening who may be in a boat when you're out on the water and all of a sudden there's a whale nearby. Now, there are rules, some more stringently enforced in other American jurisdictions like California and Hawaii, but even here in BC, we have rules about you can't go any closer than what distance. You can't approach a whale under power from what distance, Morley?
I'm not sure exactly what the distance is.
It's a half mile, I think, isn't it?
I think you're right. It is about a half mile,
right.
And you just want to respect the wildlife.
Absolutely.
You don't want to make sudden changes in course if they're coming up on you, and you just have to use some common sense.
But if you're in the fortunate position that Morley found himself in, where it's impossible to avoid and move away as is recommended, because all of a sudden there they are surrounding you, you kill the motor and thank your lucky stars and take some pictures, right?
That's exactly what we did. A full video.
I'll bet you did. Well, fantastic. Our guests are Michael Short and Morley Munro, both members of the Board of Directors of Boating BC. We need to take a break, and if you want to slide over to the computer, you might want to check out boatingbc.com. It's a terrific website, lots of information about boating in our province, and lots more ahead here on Boomer Life after this.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.